This streamer has destroyed his image in the last couple of months, and everything that we're covering today is just so laughably stupid that it doesn't even make sense, and why he's acting the way he is. Starting with allegedly issuing a false DMCA takedown to an indie game creator because of a joke that he made in his game. And that's far from the only pile of trash that he's been a part of this year, with incident after incident essentially making his entire platform a certified printing press of bad takes. This dude somehow is just mass distributing negative aura. But today we're talking about PirateSoftware, or Jason Thor Hall, who's a former Blizzard employee who decided to become a streamer. And in the last few months, he's just slowly became a little bit of a laughing stock of the internet. Now, this is all mainly for saying dumb stuff with full confidence, getting blasted by every corner of the internet, and then doubling down like his ego is on life support, and denial is the only way that's keeping it all pumping. So let's rewind a bit, because there's a lot to this story. Months ago, Pirate was a part of a hardcore World of Warcraft guild called Fangs. They were playing a new twist of World of Warcraft called Hardcore, and it's similar to how Hardcore in Minecraft works. If you die in the game, you lose everything. All of the hours you spent leveling on the character is now completely gone. And this new twist brought a lot of people who played WoW back in the day back to the game, including some large influencers. So this guild, by the name of Fangs, wasn't just like filled with your your typical MMO grinders. It was also packed with big streamers, and the only way that you would really join this guild is if you had a large platform. And when it came to getting into this guild, it didn't really matter if you were really good at WoW or not. All it really mattered is if you had a large platform. So the people streaming on this guild had pretty solid viewership. Every death, every wipe, every mistake, it was clipped, memed, and dissected. Pirate previously worked at Blizzard, the company that's behind World of Warcraft, so obviously he's played a lot of WoW, and he made sure that everyone knew this because it seems like he wanted to be perceived as this big brain WoW player. But in one particularly bad run, Pirate's group made some costly mistakes. What did he do? He just dipped. He straight up abandoned his teammates. It didn't get them killed directly, however, the vibe was save yourself, I'm out of here. Not really a good look for a permadeath game.
During the daily activities of the guild, PirateSoftware ran into a situation where his group, or rather the group he was in, he wasn't the leader, made some mistakes. Being that the game is hardcore, if you die, there's no coming back on that character. You have to make a new one, which can take hundreds of hours. So after the mistakes were made, the group fractured and communication broke down. During the chaos, PirateSoftware ran for his life and basically adopted a sort of every man for himself mentality, which didn't necessarily kill his teammates, but he probably could have helped save them.
Now, is that enough to warrant months of harassment? Absolutely not. But this is the internet, where people will turn any scuffed raid on a video game into a full-blown battle of morality. And honestly, did not help that Pirate acted like, he was a galaxy brain here, and he kept doubling down that he did the right call and he couldn't have done anything else to help his teammates, when this definitely was not the case. And I'm not trying to sit here and be like a backseat gamer, as I haven't played a mage in World of Warcraft since Wrath of the Lich King, but there's a lot of snaring he could have done to at least help his teammates have a better odds of survival here. It seems like he just went, see ya, with no effort in trying to save them. Because of this, he was nicknamed Roach for his awful performance, which isn't an uncommon name for this practice in the first place. So while obviously harassment is taking it too far, you can definitely argue that when you stream a game like this, you kind of have to know that you can get some nicknames coming your way if you act like this in this game. And at that point, you just kind of have to own it, because what's done is done. But he didn't do that. And on January 15th of this year, he was removed from the guild. Okay, so I'm not going to read all that, but he basically gives this in-depth thought process, or as he calls strategy, behind why he couldn't save anyone. Which, look, it's a game. There's no reason to take it this far, but he absolutely could have done way more to help them. And obviously, if you don't play video games, or if you've never played WoW before, this probably seems like a massive nothing burger. Which, I mean, in all reality, in the grand scheme of things, it kind of is, at least this situation. But you have to put a lot of trust in your teammates in a hardcore server like this to not lose hundreds of hours of your own time. So either way, the memes flew, and you would think, okay, just ignore it, just laugh it off, maybe say, yeah, I messed up, and keep moving forward. But no, Pirate did what Pirate does best. He just denies everything. He did the absolute best thing that he could do. This guy is a gigabrain. He does everything perfectly. This never apologize energy essentially became his entire brand. And I'm going to be real. If that was the end of it, we wouldn't be here. There's a reason I didn't cover it when it happened, because I just didn't feel like it was really enough to talk about. It was kind of funny, but it wasn't really a big enough story. But unfortunately, the Pirate saga just kept evolving like a crappy Pokemon. It's kind of like the evolution of Nosepass. Nobody asked for this evolution, because once people saw how overly defensive he was, They started digging, and what did they find? The dude essentially LARPing as a genius. One example being like his old livestream VODs where he Googled the solution of a puzzle and then proceeded to pretend to solve the puzzle. Basically, he was on his phone during the stream and suddenly went, "Oh, I know the answer." And everyone was like, "Well, is that because you Googled it, dude?" So Pirate then responded via stream and said that he did not cheat and seemed pretty taken aback that people even thought that he would ever cheat.
Why did you cheat in Outer Wilds? What? How the hell would you cheat in that game? Bro, we played it all live on stream. All right, bud. It's a wild-ass thing to say. What the hell?
Honestly, it seems exhausting to LARP as a genius. There's this saying that's like, you should never be the smartest person in the room. And that saying is quite comfy for me because as long as there's someone else in the room, I'm chilling. They can thankfully carry that burden for me, especially if I'm in the same room as Galaxy Brain PirateSoftware here. And speaking of Galaxy Brain takes here, he had a bizarre rant where he trashed the Stop Killing Games movement, a campaign created to preserve digital games before companies shut them down forever. And he misrepresented the whole thing like he hadn't read a single word from the mission statement, with one of his statements describing the campaign as used car salesman garbage, and then told the campaign supporters to eat his entire ass. Gee, maybe they would if you didn't keep running away. On a serious note, sir, you're just yelling at people trying to protect nostalgia all while sounding like a philosophical Reddit mod who steals quotes from stoic Facebook groups. But either way, Pirate made 2 videos on why he didn't support the movement, basically taking the stance that he was standing up for the devs who couldn't stand up for themselves, saying that of course gamers were into this movement, but devs were getting the short end of the stick. And even if some of those points were valid, he was so over the top and harsh about the movement as a whole, he just sounded like a scumbag. And I'm not even coming for this guy personally, it's just he legit just made 2 videos that are extremely hard to watch and have a very I'm better than you attitude during the whole thing.
And it's really easy to say like, oh, that'll get worked out down the line. But we're dealing with government here. If we're going to be putting up these types of ideas specifically in front of government, we need to be calling out the right issues, especially if you don't have precedent set. Because now you're going to be setting precedent on something that doesn't make any sense with people that may not understand the nuance of our industry, all in the name of saving games. I can't agree with that.
So in short, that's his take. So to give more context here, Stop Killing Games is led by Accursed Farms, or Ross. And Ross partially blames Pirate's influential videos as the reason Stop Killing Games is potentially dissolving right now.
Hello, this is probably the final update to the Stop Killing Games campaign. Though I'm coming at you a little bit like a time traveler would. It'll make sense in a minute. As a refresher, Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement to stop publishers from effectively destroying video games they have already sold to customers. Okay, I really don't want to do this next part, but it's become a liability for the campaign for me not to. Our biggest critic by far is YouTuber and streamer PirateSoftware, who goes by Thor. If your only exposure to Stop Killing Games has been this video, then you've been misinformed. This video is by someone who does not understand the campaign, has been trying to stop it, and has been making up what it is about. Now you might be thinking, okay, so some YouTuber got something wrong on the internet. So what? See, that was my thinking too. The problem is how incredibly influential this YouTuber has been. Remember that list of coverage on the campaign? Well, best I can tell, Thor's coverage has been bigger than literally anyone else on those lists, except Asmongold. And the only video Asmongold had on this bigger than Thor's was about Thor's video. So for all practical purposes, Thor here has been the #1 voice on the campaign, and he's been lying about what it is.
And here's a compilation that Ross made of Pirate.
Oh, shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. Now, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat then. I drop the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing.
So this is just another example of Pirate just doubling down over and over again. And honestly, disagreeing and continuing to double down, that's bad, but nothing comes close to this. As someone decided to make a parody version of a bunch of large streamers in a game called Idle Streaming Bonanza. It was clearly bait, but an obvious joke. And of course, there was a little parody about Pirate in this video game.
As much as you're angry right now, of course I ran.
So everyone's being made fun of. At the end of the day, best thing to do is just take the joke, right? Of course not. It featured an image of a roach. So Pirate completely lost it and allegedly issued a DMCA takedown over a parody that wasn't even in the game yet. Meaning he and his legal team didn't even check before going nuclear. Oh no, someone depicted me as a pixelated roach. Let me get the lawyers involved. Saying that this reaction is pathetic is an understatement. And the whole DMCA ended up being a disaster because the counterclaim stated that the image and voice used wasn't for the Steam version. And with that, the game ended up being reinstated. And this just gave the gaming community way more fuel for their PirateSoftware fire.
There was a dude earlier today that went onto Reddit and said that he was using my voice in a video game, showed a bunch of videos of it, and then put that game up on Steam. A lot of people in the thread told him not to do that, that would end up being a legal problem for him. He did it anyway. So I filed a DMCA claim, and he has now filed a counterclaim against me. We're going to take you to court. You're going to lose. You cannot use somebody's likeness or voice in any way inside of your games without their permission. It's a really stupid thing to do. Incredibly so. So I'm going to send this over to Kronos now because he is a lawyer in copyright law. That is his job.
Did he just admit that the roach was his likeness? Apparently his voice was never in the game, but this just keeps happening. Every few weeks, some clip or moment resurfaces where Pirate is once again doing the most and providing very little. The latest wave of criticism, same pattern as previously mentioned, just says something dumb, gets called out, and instead of, leaving it where it is, he just sticks to his weird little bunker of denial. And it's not even high stakes stuff. It's just weird that he's dying on these hills. It's not politics. It's not legal drama. It's literally just video games and online reputation. And that's what makes all of this so fascinating. This is a guy who's blowing up his own career in slow motion because he can't muster up the courage to just apologize or take a step back and reevaluate his own opinions. And I guess right now he's just kind of in this phase where every time people start to forget about him, he does something else that makes everyone go, oh yeah, this guy, I guess he found another hill to die on. So people just clip him, mock him, and even doing dramatic readings of his rants like there's some Shakespearean tragedy. And the worst part, he seems to be thriving off of it. It seems like the attention, even when it's negative, and I guess is some kind of fuel for him. And it's not really hard to see how we've got here. He may feel like the victim of some harassment, which, yeah, some of the hate over time has definitely been that. So he sticks around and doesn't back down to anyone. If only he just had that attitude when it came to his teammates in World of Warcraft. And now, honestly, if he even wanted to change, he's stuck in this performance of resisting the masses because backing down would feel like defeat, not just the mob, but also to himself, I guess. Because let's be real, I wouldn't be here making this video if he didn't find a new hill to die on every week or so. It's just kind of like watching this weird ego implosion play out in real time. And my biggest takeaway from all this is just why? Why tank your entire reputation over some Reddit posts, a few clips, a parody in an indie game that only got attention because you tried to take it down? Because at this point, PirateSoftware is really just a victim of himself. Because I don't even see the upside of becoming just a massive whiner. But hey, if you want to check out Stop Killing Games, I'll link it in the description down below because I actually agree that if you buy a game, you should be able to play it, no matter if it's now or 5 years from now. And apparently, according to a certain person we talked about in this video, that's a hot take. But at the very least, the game should be available offline. And if the devs need to disconnect servers because I guess the game isn't profitable anymore, at least they should allow the community members to spin up community servers. But hey, what do I know? Let me know what you think because I won't DMCA your opinion.
Oh, a cockroach! We got a cockroach!